These are Peds behind me. These white boxes behind me, they're actually Peds. They're disposable socks. Hi guys, my name's Adam, and I call myself the Pittsburgh Picker. First video actually here. I decided to start and make a video on how I got my start selling on eBay. Now, I'm only a part-time seller on eBay at the moment. I have another business that I work pretty much full-time at. However, in the wintertime, here on the East Coast, tends to slow down quite a bit during the winter months. So my plan is to ramp it up to be pretty much almost full-time. I'll be doing some part-time work in the wintertime, just here and there, but for the most part, I'll be doing eBay full-time. And one thing I wanted to share with you this first video was how I started, or how we started. Me and my fiance are actually in it together, and we tend to do most of this together. So I decided to kind of share a video on what we did first, some of the mistakes we made at the beginning, how we acquired the items that maybe we got in the beginning, or that we got in the beginning, and pretty much what gave us the bug, because it is very much a bug. It seems like it's almost an addiction. And once you start in this, you realize how quickly and how easily you can make money, so then you kind of spawn off into other avenues and not just stick to the basically how you started. So I thought I'd make this video and kind of give you guys a once over on how we got our start and how we started selling full time. Now, we've only been at this for maybe 5 months total as of right now. Today's the first week of October, or well, this week is the first week of October, and we've probably only been at it for, I'd say, close to 5 months. And we've had some problems in the beginning, like I think most of you have, and we've also had some really great home runs. And so I'm going to share with you kind of the beginning stages and some of the mistakes we made. Maybe, as you watch this video and maybe you're interested in getting into online reselling, you can learn something from what we've done and some of the mistakes we made, and maybe not make the same mistakes that we made. But, maybe you'll get some good information from it as well. Maybe you'll find what we did useful information and not make the same mistakes we did. So let's get into it. So some of the first things we sold were these Native American dolls. They were actually wood-carved dolls. Some of them were a foot tall, some of them were 2 feet tall, and then the base was between probably 3 to 8 inches wide. We acquired them from my mother, who used to run a facility, storage facility actually, and somebody had left them there with a note to say to just discard them, and she knew enough at the time to not. She thought maybe they were worth a little bit of money, so she sent them to us, and we decided to start selling them on eBay. At the time, we knew very little, if anything, about selling anything on eBay, and it was pretty much a learning situation for us, and we decided to start. During that time, we were going through, the lockdowns, and this area was pretty much under a stay-at-home order, so we had nothing but time to be able to figure this out. We experimented. We put a few on, put them on as auction only, because we really didn't have a good idea what they were worth. We had a general idea, but in the cases of those, they were all over the map. It really was dependent on whether they were handmade, whether they were an artist that was relatively well known, and whether or not they had any damage. And they were wooden, so some of them did actually have some damage, so we really didn't think these were going to be big money makers. Now, as it turned out, some of them were actually worth a fair amount of money, and so we stuck with it and we continued to sell them. From there, we moved on to license plates, and not just any license plates. They were old license plates. This was actually when I would say we got the bug, because we had 2 or 3 of these license plates that were actually worth upwards of $1,000, and that's when this all started. We started acquiring more license plates after that. I knew a fair amount about license plates and the older license plates, and so did she. Her father was a collector, and that's frankly how we got the first couple that we sold online. After that, we thought, well, we could make a business out of this. We could go buy more license plates. And that didn't work. Buying old license plates is not a good business model. It's a good thing to find and sell if you can buy them for the right price and then turn around and sell them. But it seems like a lot of people really know the value of license plates, especially the porcelain ones. They tend to get big numbers for them anywhere. You'd be hard pressed to find somebody that didn't know they had a valuable license plate and, turned around and sold it to you for enough money that you would actually be able to turn a profit on eBay. So we expanded from there, and I had an old video game collection that I had been hanging on to for God knows what reason, probably just nostalgia because it's part of my childhood. So we got into selling some of these old Sega games I had, and they're from the original Sega, not the Sega Genesis, the Sega Master System, and I'm sure those of you that know video games really well know of this system's existence, but a lot of people don't. Before the Sega Genesis, Sega made a system called the Master System. It was their answer, or their competitive answer to the original Nintendo, the NES. And it wasn't widely a very popular system. Most people had the Nintendo. In fact, I used to remember when I was a young kid, I would always go over to my friend's house that had the Nintendo because they had better games. But it was still a system that I enjoyed playing, so I hung on to all the games, and little did we know that some of these games were very valuable. I'm going to put a couple examples up of some of the games we sold. Unfortunately, eBay only allows you to go back 90 days, so some of the very most valuable games actually weren't. Well, I can't pull a screenshot on them. One of them was Alex Kidd in Shinobi World. That was a very rare game. Now, it was only a very rare game for two reasons. One, we had the whole case with all the instruction manual, and the cartridge actually had a blue label on it. The blue label ones tend to be a little bit more valuable than the regular red label games. But I'll put up a few previews, probably two, up there. From there, we went into military memorabilia, and I know it sounds like we're all over the map here, but we were really just trying to find out what stuck. And this is pretty much the journey we took. It's just how we got to today. And I'm not saying today we're six-figure incomes by any stretch of the imagination, but as you can see behind me, we're running out of room. We're running out of room here in our house because this is where we store everything. We're currently working on a new system where we could probably expand some areas of our basement, but as I've learned from people on YouTube, that you definitely want to make sure that there's not a lot of moisture in the area where you're storing things, because you could be running into a mold problem, and we don't want that, because we do sell a fair amount of clothing and a fair amount of things that could be subject to damage when it comes to moisture. So that video for discussion and video for another day, but for the time being, let's just say we're running out of room and things are starting to stack up back here, and well, it is what it is. Good problem to have. Anyways, next we went into military memorabilia, mostly patches from the Vietnam era. I'll put up a couple examples of the ones we've sold, along with some of the other things we sold, being pins from World War II, and things of that nature. It's, again, the biggest problem you have here is finding it. When you find it, people tend to know that it's worth what it's worth. And they're not going to sell it to you for the $3 or $4 that you would want to get it for, or even $10 to be able to sell something for 20 or 30. Also, when it comes to military memorabilia, it has a lot to do with the story. If you don't have a backstory for it, it's not worth nearly as much. Or if it's reproductions are just not worth a lot. You can find them anywhere for $3 and $4, and they probably are worth $3 and $4. So we again decided, well, let's see if we can find more of this, and we went out to a fair bit of places and found military memorabilia, and we bought a few things. Thinking, oh, $10, yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. We should be able to sell it for $30, and we were wrong. Most of them sold for $10 or under, and we lost some money. It was then that I decided to do a lot more research, and thanks to YouTube, I came up with a lot of people that knew what they were doing and was fairly open with what what their process was and what they bought and things that they bought. And from there, that's when things started to change, because we started buying things that sold, and we bought it at the right price. And now we buy anything, things from clothing to video games to these are Peds behind me. These white boxes behind me, they're actually Peds. They're disposable socks that people use when you're trying on shoes. They sell rather well. I wish I had more of them, but we were on vacation. We found a department store that was going out of business. Everything was 90% off. We bought each one of those for 50 cents. Great profit margin selling each one of them for $9. So it works. We have bought and sold VCRs. VCRs are a great seller as long as they're the forehead and as long as you test them, because a lot of VCRs will tend to eat tapes, and that's the last thing you want. You'll get a return. And, we've gotten our fair share of returns. But that's just kind of a general overview of how we started and how we ended up where we are. I really hope this video helps some people. My vision with this I sound like somebody who actually knows what they're doing. My vision with this channel is to give you kind of a day-by-day breakdown of what we sold. We're not the sellers that sell things for $400 and $500 typically. Normally we're the sellers that are selling things for $10 and $12 or $25. We do have a handful of larger purchases, but typically those are once or twice, maybe three times a month where we get something that's larger. But our bread and butter is normally the $20 to $30 range, and we do sell a lot of vintage books for $3 and $4. We're getting them for pennies, and we're selling them for $3 or $4 plus shipping. So that's kind of a general idea of what we've done and how we've made this work and how we've gotten started. I would love it if you guys subscribe to the channel. I plan to put out at least 2 or 3 videos a week. Most of them will consist of me going to thrift stores, maybe some yard sales. Again, it's getting colder here in the East Coast, so we're not going to see a lot of yard sales. We might see some estate sales in the winter time. Plan on filming those. Plan on filming some thrift stores, some flea markets, and also do like a recap. In fact, probably the video after this. That's always a good noise. Everybody loves that noise when you're on eBay. Plan on at least 1 or 2 a week, maybe 3. As it gets closer to winter and my other business slows down, and maybe I'll put one out every day. It really just depends on how this goes. I hope that you guys find this informative. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. That would be great. Turn the notification bell on if you can, and you'll get notified every time I upload a video. I plan to upload this one, and then probably either that day or the day after I'll upload kind of a what sold on eBay video that everybody does. But maybe mine's unique. Maybe I sell things that some other people don't. I do love all these guys that are out there. The Cincinnati Picker, great videos. I love what he does. The Commonwealth Picker, love that guy. Plan on ordering Enaman if you happen to watch this. But for those of you that watch that guy, I'm sure you'll know what the Enaman is. I would love it to be back here with Yoshi or over here near the Peds when I'm making these videos. But great. If you can, give me a like, give me a subscribe. Again, this is my first video, so sorry if the lighting sucks, if you can't hear me, or whatever. I'll try to edit this, obviously, and make sure that it looks good before I put it out there. And if you have any tips for me, that'd be great. I'd love to hear some comments. That would be awesome. I'd love to reach out to anybody who's maybe starting and doing YouTube, and maybe you can give me some pointers. And I think I know how to make some money off of this. I think I know how to monetize it. I think I know all these things, but maybe there's some tips and tricks that you guys can help me out on. And if I don't monetize it, nothing ever happens, it would be just great to help some people get their start and help some people figure out maybe what works and what doesn't. If you're thinking about being an online retailer and selling on eBay, even Amazon. I'm starting with the whole Amazon thing. I'm not sure if I'm very confident in it yet, but I could use some tips if anybody's out there that would love to tell me how to get started with that. All right, thanks, and like and subscribe. Thanks.